Okay, cool. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Far From Robotic podcast. My name is Clay Winters. I'm the general manager here at Control Tech and want to welcome you back. We are going to be doing a solo series. So, for all my Euchre fans out there, I'm going alone. Okay. So, we wanted to talk about some things, maybe some myths that you hear out there or some tips or tricks and things like that, but also want to kind of in this series kind of go into getting ready for the upcoming seasons and things that you can do. So some DIY things and everything for you as well. So I want to go ahead and touch on that. So one of the first things we want to talk about is we're getting ready to switch seasons. So we're getting ready to go from winter into spring, summer. Okay. So imagine this. You've got the home, opened up. Maybe you got some windows up. It's 70 degrees, set at the thermostat. House is slowly creeping up to that 78 degrees, and that's when you realize the outdoor unit's not running. There's no sounds, there's nothing coming from it. That's what typically happens. Something was working in the fall, now it's not working, and when springtime rolls around. So we get those calls all the time. And I tell everybody, I said, it's not uncommon to see these things. It's when the problems show up. It's not when things break down. This is when problems actually show up. This is when they reveal themselves. Okay. So that's one of the biggest things that we tend to notice is that springtime, these systems have been sitting all winter and everything like that. All of a sudden you go to turn it on and sure enough, nothing comes on. So that's one of the biggest things that we see this time of year as we transition to these seasons. So what we like to talk about is when you look at the system and everything like that, preventative maintenance, we come out, we do preventative maintenance and everything every year. One of our biggest goals is to measure everything. Look at the airflow, look at the temperature drops, clean everything. The system's been sitting for 6+ months. There's been no water running through the system. It's had no electrical load connected to it and everything. You've got your capacitor, which is probably one of the most common failures we see when spring rolls around. The capacitor is essentially like a battery for the system. It's what jumpstarts the system to start running. So that's one of the biggest failure pieces that we see. Besides other components, there are many other components that can fail, but that's one of the things we see. Everyone typically waits till the hottest day of the year to find out that they have an issue. So what we like to say is maybe go ahead and kick that system on when it's a little milder temperatures, because there's nothing worse than kicking your system on along at the same time as everybody else in central Indiana, because we've talked about this before with a few of my counterparts and buddies that I know in this industry here in the local area. We only have so many technicians across all companies. So, Control Tech has technicians, and all the different HVAC companies in central Indiana, we have so many technicians. And if you look at our population of central Indiana, so Indianapolis and then all the suburbs, there's not enough HVAC technicians to take care of every single person that first day where everything goes out. So you want to be proactive and be ahead of those things. And that's one thing that we always push here at Control Tech. That's one of our core values for our team, is to be proactive and seek solutions. We want them to be proactive and inform you and educate you, which education is another one of our core values here. We want to educate you on what exactly is going on and what you can do to prevent any future breakdowns and things like that, because again, you don't want that to happen at the worst time of year. I always say these things don't happen when it's mild outside, just like your car doesn't break down when it's parked in the garage, right? It's parked in the garage, it doesn't break down, right? It's when you go to start it, maybe the battery's too cold and things like that. Same thing is true for HVAC components. So that's something that you got to take into account. So making sure that you are having the preventative maintenance done, but also test your system before the season hits. So if you have a 65, maybe a 70 degree day where, as we're getting into those seasons, go ahead and kick that on and see if everything's working. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Does it feel different to you? Does it sound different to you than it did the last season? That'll be your telling sign. Or do you kick it on, there's no cold air coming out? That could tell you there's some kind of a component failure. It could be low in refrigerant. There could be anything else going on. So there's a bunch of different things that you want to look at when that time comes. But that's the time to test these systems. Test them when it's mild out, because if there is any issues, then you get ahead of the curve versus waiting till, again, I always say race weekend is one of the worst. Graduation parties, because those weekends, race weekend, graduation parties, that's when you're going to test your system substantially more than you would any other time of year. That system is going to be strained more. Now, your AC system, I'll talk about that real quick. Your air conditioning system is designed for typically however many bedrooms there are in the home plus one individual. Okay, so if you have a 3-bedroom house, that cooling load is designed for multiple things. So the design of the home, the insulation, windows, roofing, siding, everything like that. But then they design it for, if it's 3 bedrooms plus one, because they consider 2 people in the master bedroom and then one other individual in the other 2 bedrooms. So that's where that comes up with. Now, when you have a race party and you've got 40 people coming in and out of your house, the door never stays closed all day. It's 80 degrees out. The AC's cranking and just running and running and running. It's not designed for that. It's not designed for those high loads and everything like that. And the same thing is true for graduation parties, because they tend to follow right around that time. And the same thing then right behind that is 4th of July. What my point is don't wait till those extreme times to test your system. Test it before the season. Go and kick it on, run outside, see if it's running and everything like that. Now, all of our maintenance customers that we have on membership, when we go out and we maintain these systems every year, they're aware of these things. And if they do run into anything before they're scheduled to have their maintenance visit, then we can get a technician out there sooner than later to take care of that. But otherwise, you just want to make sure that you're doing your part, and then we will do our part for sure. Because that little part that you do of kicking it on and see if it's working properly, it's perfect. I don't know what the weather is here off the top of my head coming up, but I know we've got some like days that are maybe over 55, around 60. It doesn't hurt if you get towards the later part of the day, maybe sometime between like 2 and 4 p.m., where it's the peak warm time of the day. If you want to kick it on just for a few minutes, go ahead and kick it on. The other thing is to make sure of, as we go into the season, you may smell like a musty smell, or like what they call a dirty sock smell. That's a lot of times has to do with, there could be some bacteria that's in the drain pan and it hasn't had any water in it for several months. So that is something that can happen. So it's just something to keep in mind. But those are just some things. As we switch over, you're going to start essentially going from one day you might be in cooling and you might be in heating in another day, and keep going back and forth. And it can put strain on the system. Not a ton, but you just want to be very methodical about it. If you want to kick on the heat in the morning just to kind of warm up the home, and then as the day progresses and you guys switch over to cooling, that's totally fine. But now is the time to test these systems and make sure that they're working properly. So wanted to basically just touch on that and let all of our people know, if you see something, let us know. Let the technician know when they come out. If they have any questions, they'll reach out to you. And if they see anything, their goal is to be proactive and let you know before that season comes, because they don't want you finding out the same time as everybody else, like I said, because it does get busy. One thing I do want to mention that I kind of wrote down here is when we come out and we measure the things, like we check the airflow, check the electrical components and everything like that. If it is the capacitor, so one thing that happens quite often is maybe in the summer, the season before, we let you know that the capacitor was weak, okay? So during your last cooling visit, maybe the capacitor was running at a lower rating than what we recommend. So sometimes we get people that are proactive and they just want to go ahead and change it at that time because they said, you know what, I don't want to deal with it, because essentially, let me rewind here. The capacitor is essentially like a battery, like I mentioned earlier, and it's what helps that system kick on. So I kind of compare it to like something as simple as the garage door opener, because that's one of my biggest pain points. We have one of those keypad garage door openers, and I swear I replace those batteries a couple times a year, and especially when it's cold out, because when it's cold, typically the batteries are a little bit more susceptible to the cold weather, so we tend to have to replace them a little bit more often. But the same is true with your air conditioning system. When that thing gets weak, it's not going to kick on, and that's when you're going to see the problem. So if we said last season, hey, the capacitor is weak, and you wanted to hold off on, or our customers wanted to hold off on the repair and everything like that, it's totally fine. We totally get it, because some people just want to, you know what, I'll I'll break it or I'll fix it when it breaks down, and that's totally fine. Just know that if the season rolls around and it's not kicking on again, more than likely something as simple as the capacitor. If we said it was weak back in the fall or in the summer, and now spring rolls around and it's not kicking on, it's more than likely something that was recommended at that last visit, because our technicians are very thorough and very detailed, and they do want to let you know all of those things. They don't just put them on there to try and sell something. They're putting them on there because they're trying to educate you that, hey, this tested lower than what we want to see it, and we want to make a recommendation to replace it. That's our goal. Our goal is to, again, be proactive. The other thing I want to mention too is sometimes system failure, and this would be more for maybe new customers. Sometimes system failure is from the system design, meaning the duct system. The duct system could be undersized. In some cases, it can be oversized. That's a lot less common, but it is very common to find undersized ductwork, and that can actually put strain on the system and cause more issues. There's also things like a duct system that is sized perfectly fine, but somebody closes multiple registers in the home, or most of the registers. Maybe the downstairs is freezing cold, so they close all the registers downstairs to try to force more air upstairs. Well, it does the opposite effect. I mean, it doesn't really help push that air up there at all, because the air takes the path of least resistance. It's still going to travel down those vents on the main level. It doesn't turn around and go to other places. But also what it does is it can actually put more strain on the blower, and that blower can have issues. So we want to avoid that. So there's little things that you can do on your end. Another thing to mention too is coming out of the winter season, usually weeds and things like that are not bad, or plants around the outdoor unit. But if you did not trim them back last fall before the end of the season, trim them back before spring starts, because if you don't have a full maybe 2 to 3 feet of space around those outdoor units for that system to breathe, I tell people, I said try to put a heavy blanket or something, kind of put it over your face and try and breathe through that. It's hard, right? Because that's essentially your circulating system. So if the AC can't breathe, it's not going to perform the way that it should. And we want to make sure that those are clean and everything like that. So if you've got weeds or plants that grow really close, 2 to 3 feet is good. Keep that back. Again, just to kind of close out, run your AC before you use it. Listen to it. Pay attention. If something feels off, let us know. And then the last thing I want to finish with is, our job isn't to scare people into replacing equipment. It's to help you understand what's normal and what's not. That's the ultimate goal from our technicians. We want you to understand this is normal, this is not normal. There is no magic potion out there for what could be going on with the system before we get there. We have to actually put eyes on it, because I do know sometimes we'll get some phone calls and we can run through some scenarios and you can tell us what's going on and we will listen to that. But more than likely, we've got to get a technician out there to take a look at that. Again, give us a call if you have any questions and everything like that. We absolutely want to do the best we can, and our technicians take pride in their work. They do not want to be salespeople. Some of our technicians have come from companies where everything is about sales and everything is about upselling. Our big thing is education. Educate our customers and educate our future customers, because things like that, letting them know what is going on and giving them a solution, is more important than upselling to make a quick buck. That's not the business we're in. So we look forward to working with you and everything. And if you have any questions and any other feedback that you want to hear, we'd definitely love to hear from you. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Control Tech Heating and Plumbing.